I, as all of you should, be upset with how we are failing our children. I released a proposal about a month and a half ago on education reform because I said our schools were failing our children. The absent mayor and other candidates said the schools are good and we're making great progress. I would disagree with that statement. You disagree with that statement. So what would I do as mayor? I'd take back our schools the same way I want to take back Baltimore. I think the mayor should have control over the schools again. I think it will increase accountability and accessibility and transparency because we'll have a mayor that's pushing that agenda. I want to reinvest in our physical structures, the schools. Think about it. We haven't built a new school in 30 years. The schools feel like prison preps instead of college preps. And so I want to make the transition smoother to college and the workforce instead of smoother to prison. I want to reinvest in our middle school where the little girls are losing their interest in math and science and our little boys are losing their interest, period. And I want to change the public charter school law to make it so that the schools are more accountable and are more autonomous so more national vendors are coming here to service our children. My name is Otis Rolley. The Baltimore Development Corporation is supposed to be a subsidiary of the Department of Housing and Community Development. It doesn't act that way. It doesn't operate in that way, and so we need to make changes. That agency's #1 priority is supposed to be job creation. They've been focusing in on real estate development and not doing that well. So the first thing that I would do as mayor is to restructure and reorganize BDC, helping to get back in line with its original purpose, which is to be the economic development arm of the Housing and Community Development Agency. Because when it was formed, it was understood that in order for economic development to be real and viable, it had to be a part of community development. It had to build wealth and create jobs and opportunity within our neighborhoods. They're not doing that right now. All executive agencies, all boards, their meetings will be public. Their meetings will be public and they will be available at times that are convenient to our citizens. Howard County does this, Baltimore County does this, but in our city, the Planning Commission, the BMCA, they meet during the afternoons when we're at work. If you want transparency, if you want accessibility, then you meet at a time that's convenient with your customers. And we would do that once I'm mayor. The final piece is on tax breaks. The reality is there's nothing wrong with providing incentives to create economic opportunity. The problem is when those incentives only go to people who are writing you campaign checks. That's the problem. The reality is right now, we don't do a good job. The city does not do a good job. Maybe that's why she didn't come. Maybe she didn't want to be held accountable. Maybe she doesn't respect the dozens and dozens of organizations who are here talking about the issues that matter. But what I know to be true is this, is that until we deal with the real issues within our neighborhoods around environmental concerns, then we can't even talk about jobs being created. And so first and foremost, you have to have a Department of Housing and Community Development that's not just Baltimore Housing, but that is a real agency focused in on community development and opportunity within our neighborhoods. That they're not creating us and them effect in terms of those individuals who are investing in their neighborhoods being penalized while the vacant properties are going away without any penalty whatsoever. I think we have to have a city government that is working on the behalf of the citizens. And then we can begin to open up opportunity beyond just green jobs and green investment for Baltimore. We need to change the course and the direction of the city. Create opportunities for our youth by making improvements to our schools. And that's why I've laid out an education reform plan. We need to create opportunities for our youth by making sure that we have enough jobs for them for the summer. Not just 5,000, but as many jobs as we need because other cities are doing that. We could do that here. Other cities are building rec centers while we close them down. We need to build them, and I would as mayor. We need to invest in our youth so that we have a future in our city. The only way Baltimore is going to start growing again is when we start to refocus and reprioritize families and youth. And once we do that, Baltimore will grow, and that's why I've laid out plans on how to do that, and I hope that I can get your vote on September 13th. I think you have to have a plan of action which you go after these properties, you demolish those properties that can be demolished, in those neighborhoods that should be demolished, and then you invest and rebuild in those neighborhoods where there are 1, 2, 3, 4 vacancies. You know what can occur if you are doing the right thing, and we haven't been doing those right things. So I want to refocus our resources in those neighborhoods where there is an opportunity to grow. And demolish in those neighborhoods where there are only 1, 2, 3 occupied properties. And then you also start to rely on the private sector to bring more resources, because while we are creating tax abatements downtown, the reality is that the $150,000 developer is as important to Baltimore as the $150 million developer. And so those same tax breaks that we use downtown, we need to use in our neighborhoods. We need to create incentives for people and bring their private dollars to go into those vacant homes.
Clean out the housing department.
Our current drug strategy is not satisfactory, because what we're doing is really kind of trading addictions. We're going from having a lot of our citizens on illegal drugs to having them on legal drugs. The solution is to create opportunity, educational opportunity, and economic opportunity, and recreational opportunity for all of Baltimore citizens, so that we prevent them from getting on drugs. The reality is this: what people are doing is self-medicating. Our neighborhoods are hard right now. The lack of jobs, not being able to provide for your family, creates a situation where people are self-medicating. And you don't heal that problem by trading illegal drug addiction for legal drug addiction.
Right.
And so I think our drug strategy has to change. It has to be an approach that really is the abstinence, and I'm talking about abstinence from drugs and from drug addiction. And those are harder programs, yes. They're more expensive programs, yes. But they're real programs and real solutions for our citizens.